contact me and asking me about bringing the refugees over to America. And is it correct? Is it the right thing to do, or is it okay to say no? Well, you're both right. Okay? I shouldn't say you both, because there's more than one person, more than two people contacted me. But both of those questions are correct. We should let refugees come over here that need help. But a refugee isn't just somebody where they had their home blown up, or they just want to escape, the area because of the violence, that is just there. Unless you personally are being attacked, like Christians, okay? And there you have to be careful also. We need to just reach out and help all that we can, but we also have to protect our backs. Turn, when they smack you on one cheek, turn to the other cheek and let them smack you again. Okay, you only have two cheeks. But when you have some people out there that is willing to, take over or just kill anybody that steps in their way, that's how a lot of these people, kids, they're not kids. I'm not going to call them by the name that they're going by, but you know who I'm talking about, that went over to France, to Paris, and killed all these people. And it could have been worse, but some of those at the last moment, didn't make it to their destination for whatever reason, and like blew themselves up before they got around a large crowd, so it could have been a lot worse. But how'd they get there? Some of those got there from the refugees. They came right along with them because they can blend in with them, because there was no going through and finding out who these people are, and they were just allowed to come in. And here in America, we can't worry about just ourselves. We shouldn't be worrying anyway, and I'm personally, I'm not worried. I have to depend on God to give me insight, and depend on God to tell me what needs to be done. And I know sometimes I say things and people get offended and tell me, you need to be a little bit nicer. I try to be as nice as I can, but when I'm hearing this in my head over and over and over and over and over, that I need to say it this way, sometimes I don't understand why I say it a certain way, but I do, because that's how it's coming across in my brain. And when I do it that way, it's just like peace. Just everything is done. It's done. And I'm ready to move on to something else. So I know it's from God. Because Satan can't tell me in my brain over and over and over like that. And in a very peaceful way, by the way. So I can almost tell, and not always, Satan's pretty trickery. Okay? So I still fell, at times because of that. But when I do say something and I'm at peace with it afterwards, I know it's from God. Alright? When it comes to letting refugees over to America, not only are we worried about our own backs, but what about our neighbors around us? Okay? We need to help as many people as we can. I don't mind those refugees coming over here, but they need to be screened, not just brought over. Part of the reason, if you guys do your research and not just go off what the media is saying, because the media is lying to you in a lot of ways, okay? If you look into it and look at the past refugees that have come here, the majority of them has voted for the person that we have in office right now. And the more refugees they get over here, the more is going to vote to go that direction. And a lot of it is because that's what they're used to over in their country. Even if it's wrong and not working, that's what they're used to, so that's what they're going to go for because they don't understand the freedom that America has and what America really stands for. They know America's powerful, or used to be powerful. So if we don't screen these people to find out who's who, what's what, they're going to come over here and it's going to end up like France. There are already a lot of the bad guys here in the United States. I mean, they're scattered a little bit, just a few in each state. Some states have a lot. Some states have just a few. They're here. But the more we bring over here, the worse it's going to be, and it's going to be so much out of control that the United States that you know it now is not going to be here. Now we know Jesus is coming back. For those of you that don't know that, Jesus is coming back. If you like it or not, if you're ready or not, he's coming back. We just don't know when. But in the meantime, God would want us to protect our family. God would want us to protect our nation. God would want us to protect our neighbors. But he's not going to want us to allow certain things to happen that's going to destroy the freedom that God has in this country. Because it will be destroyed. And then what does God have? Because a lot of other countries, he's not allowed there. Now granted, we do have, churches planted in different countries where God's really not allowed. But overall, look at the United States and the freedom that we've had in worshiping God, worshiping Jesus Christ. But if we allow that to disappear, then what do we have? So getting back to asking, shall we let refugees come over here, especially 10,000 of them? Rumors is he's up to 80,000 now. I know, media says 10,000. Like I said, media lies. You got to know some of the background. You got to know, how to get some of this information. And I'm not giving out, where some of this is coming from. If you do your research, you'll find it because it's out there. They just keep shutting some of it down to where it's hard to find, but it's there. But I'm not going to lose my respect for how I'm getting some of this. But you guys need to do your research and stop listening to the media so much. Do some research. There's all kinds of garbage on the internet that you can find that tells you, that, this certain group is wrong, but the lefties is okay. They're brainwashed to the point that that's what they believe, or they're paid off to where that's what they say is right. Which they don't understand. When the time comes, their history as well. But for now, they're making a profit. This is how I see it. And this is why I believe in this network that I have called This Is How I See It. Because I can give my view, but I never really give you the exact locations. Maybe once in a while, but the majority of the time I don't, because you need to learn to do your research in the right areas and not depend upon the media or just the first site you come across on the web. You need to look at history as well. Look at history on some of the situations that are similar, like Hitler, and see exactly what's going on that's running pretty much in the same direction. What happened then? What brought it up to a certain point? What's happening now? And what point are we going to end up at if we keep allowing it to happen? think some of the refugees over there need to come over here, especially, if they have little kids. But there again, you need to screen even them, because it's not just the guys that are part of this terrorist, group. There are some females in there. Actually, there's a lot of females in there. But these kids need to see a different way of life. So, how do we do this? Well, first of all, a lot of prayer. God knows which ones need to be here that will grow and come to love Him. And He knows which ones, if we allow them to come here, are going to grow up and end up being part of the terrorist group. Because they're going to rebel because of the transition they had to go through. The adults, we have to be careful with, because you know who they're going to vote for. Because that's the side that allowed them to come in here, that fought for them to come in here. So how do we weigh all this out on who to allow over here and who not to allow over here? And if we allow all of them to come over here, well, how many of this one organization is going to be a big part of that, like they was with France? They know the United States is strong. So they know when they fight in these other countries and they win quite a few sections of their plots, that's just practice for what they're going to be doing in the United States. And with parts of our government fighting to bring them in, if you listen to them, they really never talk about how bad it is for Christians. It's always how bad it is for, you got it. Why is that? Are they a part of what's going on over there? And they want to bring that here? Which will bring them more power. And they have these other organizations doing all the dirty work for them, for their power? Why is it a certain party is not in prison for the emails that was sent? And we're talking information that's gathered there enough to put her in prison for a long time. But yet, that didn't happen. Why is that? Why do we have somebody in office that should have been impeached a long time ago? Why is he still in office? The information's there. The evidence is enough to impeach him and even put him in prison. But yet we allow this to happen. So what can we do? What can we do to turn America back around? To let God have control of America like He did before? Why did we take that from Him anyway? Because you see the mess that has become. So I'm not really saying, bring them all over, because that would be wrong. But I'm not saying don't let none of them come over, because that would be wrong. But if we screen them, go to the churches and find out who goes to church on a regular basis. Now, I'm not saying they have to be a Christian, to bring them over here. But I am saying they need to be involved in a good church. Okay, one for humanity. One that agrees that life is important. And they just don't go around killing other people for their God, which is not a real God to begin with. really sure how to answer to where the people asking these questions on what side to really go on, except for you need to pray and you need to do what's best for God. Not what's best for you, not what's best for your neighbors that's living next to you, and not what's best so you believe what's best for the refugees they want to bring over. We need to know what is best for God. What does God want? If He wants to bring that whole bunch of people over here so they can tear America down and there won't be any more freedom anywhere, America's the last place that there's this kind of freedom. If God wants that, then it'll happen. But if we're all praying as a nation, coming together as unit, and praying to God, what do you want us to do and how do you want us to do it? There is a chance that America could turn around and go back to God. Turn around and keep the freedom that we have. Because the direction it's going now, you won't have any freedom. None. Well, yeah, you have the freedom to wake up. You have the freedom to go to sleep. But I'll guarantee you it's not going to be good from what we're used to. It's going to be, you will do this, you will be doing that, and you will do it at this time, and you're not going to get this time off like you thought you was, and you will be paying this much to us, which is probably about 99% of whatever you make. And you think that's a little high. Think again. Do your research and get on your knees and pray. Pray to our Father in heaven. Pray to Jesus Christ. And let's let God have control of this whole situation. And not to be bickering back and forth on, well, I think they need to come over here. Well, I don't think they need to send any of them over here. Because it's all I. When it should be about Him. What does He want? What does God want? The Bible says we need to take care of our neighbors. Well, how far away is our neighbors? And is our neighbors dangerous? Or is our neighbors the ones in need, the ones that's been hurt, the ones that's been persecuted? Who is our neighbor? Is it the ones that's willing to stab you in the back? Or take a gun and shoot you several times? Or take a knife and cut your head off? Is that our neighbor that we are supposed to take care of? I believe we need to pray for them. And I don't mind hanging around people like that. But I'm not going to hang around so much that I become one of them. Just try to be a good influence for them. To show them there is a better way. But that doesn't mean I'm going to turn my back and allow them to just massacre my whole family. Because allowing that to happen, turning the other cheek too many times, you're going to lose the freedom that God has given us. And that's not saying God's taking it away. That's saying that we're giving it away that way. So we got to watch what we're giving away. Get on your knees and pray. That's all I'm asking. And research. Do your research. Don't just sit there and listen to the TV. Because the media is a big part of that. A lot of these so-called shootings to take your guns away, they were staged. And then you get your copycats out there that does it, and it's a real thing, because they're copycats. But they don't tell you they're copycats. They tell you, he used a gun. That's why we want all your guns. Did Hitler have all the guns taken away from the people? So when they come in there, they didn't have to worry about being shot? That's something to think about. And if you don't think any of these shootings were staged, if you go back, and you'll have to really sit there and watch, but you'll go back and you'll see that some of the key witnesses are the same people. They may have a different wig on, different clothes on, but they're the same people. Do your research. Actually see what's going on in America. It's a spiritual battle. A spiritual battle. Because why aren't they beheading other people? Other religions? If you're a Christian, they're going to shoot you. They're going to behead you. The shooting in Oregon, asking, are you a Christian? You are? Bam! Why? Because it's a spiritual battle. That's why you need to be on your hands and knees and praying. You can't just go against a certain person or people or a group. You have to go against the spiritual battle that's going on. And that's Satan. Satan is so angry because he knows his time is coming. He is so angry that he's using that anger through other people to come against Christians. He's using that anger to get rid of the freedom that the United States has, because we have the freedom to worship God. And Satan doesn't want that. Do your research. Get on your hands and knees. Lay on your belly if you have to. But give it all to God. Take that baggage off your back. We all carry some baggage of some sort, but take that baggage and give it to God. And free your soul and let God have it. And then allow Him to work through you to make the right decisions and to be able to help people in the right way, because God loves you. This is how I see it. Thank you for your time.